crisis actor.
Yeah, no.
I want to be a dude. And also, if you're the guy who casts crisis actors, consider me.
He's looking for work.
I would love some work. I'll be a crisis actor. Well.
We have you surrounded.
Come out with your hands up.
Come out with your cocks out.
We know we gave you that helicopter. Please don't. Oh, shit. He's taking the helicopter. I told you not to fuel the helicopter. Oh, shit. I should have grabbed my hat. It's Tinfoil Friday, baby. Welcome to MKUsual.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to MKUsual.
I have root beer in this. What are you drinking? I've seen this little weird jar situation you got going for a few days. What is that?
This is a 10W30.
Well, it's Tinfoil Friday, and if you watched yesterday during our mailbag Thursday, you know that we had one video about Michael Jackson still being alive. Then we had one about the Challenger astronauts still being alive. Can I have a piece of paper, by the way, if that's okay? Yeah. And I wanted to
$14.
look into. Do you have a second pen? Thank you. Should have done that off the air. The air. We're on the air. We wanted to look into this Challenger conspiracy theory, and we found the documentary. It is called Level With Me. It's from 2023. It's only 15 minutes long, and it's about the Challenger astronauts all still being alive.
This is one of my personal favorite conspiracies.
Do you know, I'm going to tell a funny story real fast. If you'll allow me. Do you know, God damn it, I gotta cut this mustache. I can't drink anything normally. Can't eat soup.
He's been drinking soup through a straw.
It's awful.
Big carrot chunks.
Just the mustache, though. I'm not cutting the rest. I'm just gonna have all this without a mustache. This video here reminded me, Big Bird, the character of Big Bird, I've seen this before, was almost on the Challenger.
Like in the suit?
Because the Challenger, it was like a big publicity thing. They had like a school teacher and these other like civilians, and they almost put Big Bird on it. And it would have been like a gimmick. I think they would have sent the suit up separately, then had the guy wear the suit. But they almost had that happen. Therefore, because this was a huge publicity thing for NASA, so it is in another timeline, in fact, in many other timelines, there's a world where children were told that Big Bird's going to go up into space and then watched Big Bird die. This is a real thing. You can Google this. Where at school, they watched Big Bird blow up in the sky and fall back to Earth. Didn't happen.
They couldn't have picked a more flammable Sesame Street character.
Snuffy's pretty flammable.
Oh, that's true.
Snuffy's my favorite. Well, so anyway, we're going to watch this and react to it live. We'll have it playing at the bottom of the screen. Let's go. You ready?
Yes.
This is called Level With Me.
8, 7, 6. We have main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1. And liftoff. Liftoff of the 25th Space Shuttle mission, and it has cleared the tower.
On January 28, 1986, CNN watched the Challenger launch live on the air with its viewers. They and the other media outlets told you that the astronauts died in the explosion. But as always, there is an agenda behind every mainstream headline.
This morning, it looked as though they were not going to be able to get off.
1 minute 15 seconds. Velocity 2,900 feet per second. Altitude 9 nautical miles. Downrange distance 7 nautical miles.
Looks like a couple of the solid rocket boosters blew away from the side of the shuttle in an explosion.
Flight controllers here looking very carefully at the situation.
I just want to point out
obviously a major malfunction.
that we've done 2 reaction episodes. The first was 9/11. The second is the Challenger explosion. We're the only podcast where you get exclusive disasters that happened decades ago reaction videos. Starting back at 1
Report from
minute.
the flight dynamics officer that the vehicle has exploded.
Today is a day for mourning and remembering. Nancy and I are pained to the core by the tragedy of the Shuttle Challenger. We know we share this pain with all of the people of our country. This is truly a national loss.
The 7 NASA astronauts supposedly killed in the 1986 Challenger disaster did not die in the explosion and are quietly living out their lives in the US, with many of them hiding in plain sight, using their same names and working at high levels in the same fields they worked in before the disaster, according to explosive evidence uncovered by investigators.
We've located 6 out of 7 of them. In the world of deception, it's really easy to say this person is that person, and there's a lot of that going on, muddying the waters. But 6 out of 7 have identical names. They work for universities, most of them.
There were no people in the Challenger. That was a hoax. That's been proven conclusively by researchers and reporters, investigators, who have found that those supposed people that were in the Challenger are still alive today.
We remember Dick Scobie, the commander who spoke the last words we heard from the Space Shuttle Challenger. We remember Michael Smith. We remember Judith Resnick. We remember Krista McAuliffe. We remember Ellison Onizuka. We remember Ronald McNair.
People still think the Challenger exploded with these astronauts. It was a horrible thing. Never happened. Yes, the rocket exploded. There was no one on board.
So imagine you're at the launch of the Challenger. This is a historic moment, and it blows up in midair. Whether you are personally related to somebody on there or don't know anybody, you're going to be a mess. This is an emotional, incredible scene. And CNN was reporting, and they told the cameraman, let's get a live shot of Krista's parents. And when they zoomed in on them, they were giggling, they were laughing, they were smiling. I don't know how you can put a smile on someone's face, even if you told them the funniest joke in the world at that very moment. Just look at their face. Is that the face of somebody whose daughter just blew up in the most horrific, violent accident ever? Or is that somebody
Even if
playing
you told
a role,
them the funniest
not
joke in the
knowing
world.
that they're on camera?
Okay, those pictures were pretty convincing on their own. That was kind of crazy. And those are people with the exact same name. Maybe we're just all templates. We're all just Sims templates for gods. That guy is smiling. They're smiling and laughing.
Yeah.
Maybe they were told there's like an escape pod or like, well, no, there's no reason you'd be doing that.
No.
That is
you just
very
watch
weird.
your family get vaporized. And you know you're on live TV. Also, why would the fucking director say, let's get a shot of the parents?
That's wild. I do want to say these 3 experts, they got guys by lakes and one guy by a bush.
Guys by lakes with
Did they
no
even put their
shoes
name?
on.
It's like a guy who comes out of a bush and he's like, we know the Challenger explosion was fake.
And then one fucking hillbilly.
I don't know why they didn't put them behind a desk. They did the whole fake breaking news thing.
Yeah,
They did a fake news thing, but then their experts are like,
They got 2,
by a lake.
They got 2 waterbillies and 1 hillbilly.
Okay.
You want to know what joke they told him? He was laughing.
Yeah.
This is the world's funniest joke, according to science. Do you know why ducks have flat feet?
Why do ducks have flat feet?
So they can stomp out fires. Do you know why elephants have flat feet?
Why do elephants have flat feet?
So they can stomp out flaming ducks. Anyway.
I thought you were going to tell your Curios joke. Okay. Back at it again at 3:15.
And thinking about the money that they may have gotten. You can hide somebody that's allegedly dead right in plain sight. All you have to do is move them a little farther away, give them a different job, claim that they're...
Can I talk over it? Is like we're going to be able to...
We can talk over it.
He said the most horrific, violent accident to date.
Yeah. Well, ever?
I don't know.
Ever, there were 7 people on there. There's no accident that took out more than 7 people. Why are you being so hyper?
First of all, I'm going to say I absolutely believe this to be true.
And I had never heard of this until you told me. So I'm looking to be convinced.
Okay.
I'm not looking to be convinced. I'm looking to hear a good argument and then I'll make up my mind.
Yeah.
I have no idea. The one thing I want this documentary to give me is a motivation. I need a motivation.
See, okay. Well, we'll watch it, and then because I have a feeling or a thought.
Let's watch it. 327.
There's somebody else. You don't even need to change their name.
So statistically speaking, the odds that almost everyone on the Challenger have exact lookalikes with exact names still existing is kind of laughable, honestly. Exact doppelgangers existing in the world with the same names, and when confronted, they get very nervous, and their stories begin to conflict, and they have the same mannerisms.
Another guy by a lake.
It doesn't take a lot to put it together, honestly.
Let's start with former NASA astronaut Michael
They don't even put his name.
With the same name as this retired professor
here's a guy who's
from the
wearing a flat
University
Earth
of
shirt.
Wisconsin-Madison.
Are you Michael Smith?
Yeah.
Professor at university?
Retired.
Retired?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just stopped by because there's this room. Are you aware of that? There's a rumor on the internet.
It's not me.
That people are saying.
Yeah, it's not me, obviously. I mean, anybody that looks at my background, looks where I was born, it's not me. I mean, it's interesting that the Michael J. Smith that was the astronaut looks something like me when we were younger, but really not if you really look at facial recognition.
You never been a pilot, never been in the military?
Nothing like that.
Huh.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
And I don't respond to the emails I get. I get probably an email, maybe 2 a month.
Really?
Yeah, and I got one guy that's been really hounding me, and I turned it over to the FBI.
Okay. Yeah, you just sure look alike. It's the same name.
I know the facial thing, but that's what we look like. What? 40 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Michael J. Smith, identical looks, dimples the same, teeth the same. There's really no denying it. And before he could finish the question, Michael denied it. Oh, that's not me, and laughed off. What's he going to say? Oh, you got me? Not going to happen.
The driveway footage of Michael J. Smith, that's real. I mean, that can't be a deep fake, so at some point you got to stop trusting liars.
We don't hide our space program. We don't keep secrets and cover things up. We do it all up front and in public.
Eddie Bravo, baby.
Next is former NASA astronaut Judith Resnick with an exact doppelganger working at Yale University. 37 years have passed and she hasn't even changed her name. Side by side, there's no denying it. When she's approached, she has a very odd way of not responding.
Hey, Judy? Judy. How you doing? I'm from the press. I just had a quick question, if you don't mind.
What press?
I'm from a radio station in San Bernardino. I know there's a conspiracy about the space shuttle. No, I want to be polite. Friendly, just a question. So there's a lot of rumors about you being on that space shuttle. Obviously, if you want to comment, we would really appreciate it.
Kind of odd that Judith is in full panic mode when realizing the press is in her presence. She's no stranger to being in the spotlight.
Okay, I gotta say, I feel so bad for these people if they're not the people.
Oh, dude, people are...
This would be such a weird problem to have.
Yeah.
That randos approach you all the time and call you and fill up your inbox because they think you're a dead astronaut. Also, and I'm just gonna say it now. I'm sure the documentary gets into it. Why wouldn't they change their names? Why would you go through all this trouble to fake this massive world historic news event and then you just, they change your name if you go into witness protection.
That's what, yeah.
Why wouldn't they? Okay, I'm gonna restart it. 6:49.
She even made her way into Hollywood for a quick cameo.
If the choice is to allow Americans to be taken as hostages or to be executed, I'll bring my own rope. Saddam backed down, and Ambassador Wilson helped thousands get safely home. When he himself came home to the United States, he was warmly greeted by our president, who took him to the Oval Office and introduced him to the War Cabinet as an American hero.
Commander Dick Scobie had a company called Cows and Trees, and when you went to his website, there was an animation of a cow taking off like a rocket with a smoke stream coming out of its backside, doing a twisty curl in the air that looked remarkably just like what we saw with the Challenger. And after we started making videos on that and it started going viral, that website disappeared, never to be seen again.
And nobody could have predicted back in 1986 that in 30 some odd years from then, that there would be something called the internet that would bring all this information to the tip of your fingers, and you'd be able to search through pictures, Facebooks, websites, profiles. Now these people are scared. They're hiding their profiles, they're deleting their websites, they're making their Facebooks private.
Onizuka and McNair are always together. They're hanging out at NASA and always talking about themselves.
Ellison Onizuka, if you look at clips of him back in 1986 when this happened, he actually spoke like, every other word was,
Let me say that it's really a pleasure to be back.
If you look at clips of his brother, Claude, now speaking, it's the same exact thing. Every other word is,
But Ellison's dream is continued to be carried on.
I think we got some...
we're very fortunate that
I think we're ready to go fly. Thanks for being out here today.
His brother just so happens to be the spokesperson for the Challenger tragedy. Why aren't there any pictures of his brother back when this happened? Why didn't his brother speak at the funeral? Use your head.
Former Governor Ariyoshi, who has a story about a picture that survived the Challenger disaster.
Ellison Onizuka came to see me one day and he wanted a family photo. And he wanted to take it up on a Challenger. And he's going to bring it back, inscribe it, and autograph it. But that Challenger accident happened, and I felt very sorry to lose Ellison. But I didn't even think about the photo. I thought everything else must have been destroyed completely. About 2 months later, Lorna Onizuka called me and told me that they found in the water, NASA found the personal preference kit of Ellison Onizuka. And she said there were 2 things in there. One was a monk's prayer, and the other was his family portrait. So I told her, oh, then it must be in terrible condition because the astronauts, the big bang up and the ocean in the water for 2 months. She told me, no, it's in perfect condition. I said, I'm going to bring the picture over to you and present it to you. And then in the meantime, NASA got the picture and they put this together for us.
Ronald McNair.
Sound like anything else you've ever?
I was thinking the passport. The passports from 9/11. Are they saying that the Asian guy's brother is him? Is that the candidate for him?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
they speak similarly? I mean, that
would be one that would be easy to debunk because his brother would have a public record unless there is no public record of that brother.
Yeah, that's kind of like, you ever heard that conspiracy theory that the president of France, Macron's wife, is a man?
Oh, you told me that.
Yeah. And there's like, they think that she's like her brother. I thought it was funny where they go, his brother just so happens to be the head of the Challenger survivor. I was like, well, yeah, it's got to be some family member. I mean, that's not suspicious.
Is it gonna be like a Bravo?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. It's like it's gonna be somebody who lost somebody.
We'll see what the Brat Pack is up to.
Yeah. All right, 10:31. Let's go. We're about 2/3 of the way through this. The most convincing thing still is the pictures and the names. To me, we'll discuss it.
And they put this together for us.
Ronald McNair conveniently has a twin brother named Carl McNair, who looks exactly like him and is at a lot of the...
Conveniently, his twin looks exactly like him. Says guy number 3 by Lake. I don't think they've said the names of these guys. The only guy they named was Eddie Bravo because he's a celebrity.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm wrong.
I think some of them might have been behind the captions.
Okay, all right. That makes sense. All right.
They haven't said their names, that's for sure.
Right.
They have not. Yeah.
10:41. Let's go.
Now, but was nowhere to be found when the explosion happened.
Krista McAuliffe was a fairly new teacher, just 3 years at that school. To get her story planted, all of these people, the parents, the astronauts, everyone involved that you saw, are crisis actors.
Nessie was at the Cape in the stands to see Tuesday's launch, a sight that she says still haunts her.
Why didn't I leave too? But I thought, no, I want to stay and see it.
And as she read Mike's invitation for the launch, Miss Hesse said that she doesn't know if she'll be emotionally ready for a service like that in his hometown.
Since I won't be able to see you all in person, let me say thanks for coming and have a great time. And I hope you see a good show.
George Bush Sr. hand-selected the teacher, Krista McAuliffe. What are the odds that 30 years later, there is a professor at Syracuse University with the name Sharon McAuliffe?
I still can't believe that I'm going to actually be going into that shuttle. It just really doesn't seem possible.
Krista McAuliffe was asked if she had any fears about her space shuttle flight.
People really feel that space travel is safe now. It's not that earlier feeling that, oh, it's going to blow up or something's going to happen. Right at this point, I feel that I'll be okay if I go up.
Well, where's Jarvis? How come you haven't located him? And the answer is, he could have died of natural causes, a heart attack, a car accident, 3, 4, 5 years later, and it would never be reported.
The reason they did it was a psychological operation to justify not doing manned space flights anymore and to pull on your heartstrings with an emotional cover. So if you dare question it, then you're immoral. And then when you look into it, you find out, of course, that you have all these people still existing in the world. So basically a government version of witness protection for NASA.
Our nation held a vigil by our television sets. In one cruel moment, our exhilaration turned to horror. We waited and watched.
They were waiting and watching.
When they saw the explosion, there was confusion. Was something wrong? The principal and teachers weren't certain either. Then it got very quiet as the horror of it began to register.
Besides the trauma-based mind control and putting children through that trauma, and also it reinforces their model. It reinforces their religion. Look, all this terrible thing happened. We're trying to go to space. We're trying to explore for science. But look, all those people died.
But at 1 o'clock, school was closed. It had to close.
I felt as if my whole body blew up inside when I saw that. And I can just never be as shocked as I am now.
Seeing it with my own eyes, it really just scared me.
Some astronauts blow up in a rocket. What does that do subconsciously to the average person? They don't want to go up into space. They don't want to blow up in a rocket. We'll leave that to the professionals. We'll leave that to NASA or government.
Once they had seen the evidence on the visual screen that there would be no survivors, it suddenly became apparent to them that they were dealing with death.
The government had incentivized the different public schools to play the Challenger in their classrooms. So they rolled their TV sets out, they had all the children sit down and get ready to watch it, and 20% of the American public watched the Challenger event happen live. And within 1 hour, 80% of Americans had seen the Challenger tragedy happen. So just like with 9/11, they have everyone see this traumatic event, and then we're all in unison that we're traumatized.
When it blew up, it was a form of trauma-based mind control that some people will never grow out of, and then the emotions kick in and you're unable to think logically about what's going on.
Of course this was planned. They made every school show this event live. They wanted these kids to grow up defending this tragedy.
Think about how many field trips come here, unfortunately. And they go in and watch that Heroes and Legends thing, and they come out thinking that this is the greatest possible hero that they could ever be. And that's just, they're actors. And we're building them up higher than your father, police, military, all these people that are actual heroes. These are actors working for a government agency. So.
Okay. Well. Ooh. So I was saying I wanted to hear the motives, and at the end, I have to not do manned space flight again, which we kept doing.
Yeah, space station.
They didn't want the average person to feel like they could go to space and that you had to leave it to the government. Reinforces religion.
He said their religion.
Their religion. Okay, yeah.
Well, what I took away from that is that he was implying that their religion is you can't do it.
Only we can do it. Because the big thing was yeah. But they wouldn't. I mean, like, it wasn't like they had the school teacher, like flying the shuttle.
No, she was gonna like do finger painting or something.
Yeah. And then the big one was trauma-based mind control, which, okay.
Well, when you say the manned space flight, like, we're not going... We covered this on here before, but the fucking moon train.
Yes.
They're building, like, people are going to fucking space. Like...
Yeah. I think the two I want to focus on is you can't do it has to be the government. But that's an odd, because up until very recently with like Elon Musk and like maybe Jeff Bezos, like you haven't had a big discussion about like civilians. Like, why would you stage this giant thing to tell people like, haha, you can't go to space, only the like nobody's trying to go to space.
Well, I don't think it's that specific. They just need anything to like say leave it to us. Also, George H.W. Bush,
yes,
hand selected these people.
Interesting,
is what that said. We all know what shenanigans he's gotten into.
Some of the shenanigans. Trauma-based mind control. Do you have any thoughts on that?
My teeth are vibrating right now, and my bones feel like they're hot.
What?
But no.
Okay.
Other than that, no.
I'm going to be honest. This made me believe it a little less than I believed it when I went in.
Okay.
The fact that two of the supposed people they found are brothers. There's 7. They've only found 6, and the guy goes, well, the other guy could have just died, which is true.
Yeah.
And
they would have had a record.
And then 2 of them are brothers. One is a twin brother.
Yeah.
So that really means they found 4 out of 7. And then the lady with the same name, I guess, actually had a different name. One was Christy.
Well, it was Sharon Krista.
Yeah, Sharon and Krista. But then it's like, that's even less like, first of all, I don't understand why they would just let these people keep their names.
Well, her name was Sharon Krista McAuliffe.
Oh.
And the astronaut one is Krista, but then the professor went by Sharon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just felt like most of these people's demeanor was very sure, but they didn't like... I almost feel like if they were just asking questions, it would have convinced me a little bit more. They seemed like very sure of themselves.
And, the presenters?
Yes.
Yeah.
With like not a ton other than like they look the same. Okay, I want you to finish out the episode.
I don't know. Anytime George H.W. Bush is involved, highly sus. For me.
I'm not saying this couldn't have happened.
I don't know.
It's highly sus to me that you wouldn't just change their names. Why would you fake kill somebody and then be like, actually, this is his twin brother? And then, like, why haven't these people done any, like, there has to be, like, public birth records and stuff that they could do to show, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because if you could show
they
that
didn't present any of that as evidence.
Yes, if you could show that this person's records and their brother, like they both have birth certificates, well, that just like destroys that you found these people.
I see. Yeah, I'm with you on that. They could have like done more due diligence.
And honestly, that guy they talked to in his garage, the guy who was supposedly one of them, he kind of seemed convincing to me. He didn't seem like freaked out. He seemed very laid back. He's like, yeah, this happens. Like, obviously, it's always scandalous, like the lady like running into her Yale thing, and also the teacher was like a kindergarten teacher or something, and then she's a professor at Yale. Like, that's not the same job.
No,
they both teach, but that's like 2 wildly different jobs. Like, that'd be like saying like a lifeguard and then they die in the shuttle and all of a sudden they're like a brain surgeon or something. You know what I mean? Like, and they're both in the medical field. Like, okay, I'm gonna let you go at it. Give me your best argument. And I'm sure there's a lot of stuff not in this that you've seen.
I don't know why they wouldn't change their name, but also like this is like okay, assuming they didn't die, they never got on the shuttle. If they change their name, then you have to coach them. If someone asks, are you Judy Resnick? You look a lot like her. And no, my name is Beth Anderson, but it's her.
Right.
Then she's lying.
Right.
And you have to constantly live a lie. That would fucking destroy your psyche. But if someone asks, are you Judy Resnick? Like, yes. You can sincerely say, I'm Judy Resnick.
But you think the name...
And it doesn't matter. Then there's no, like, deceit. They don't have to play a role.
There's no deceit. They have to pretend to be a completely different person who didn't die in one of the most famous televised...
not in their head.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. They don't have to, like...
I get what you're saying.
Because also, like, that's like 30 years after it happened. They could have easily, like, gone to school and become this.
That's true.
Even no matter what they were doing in 1986, 30 years later, they could have had 3 different careers and degrees or whatever. They could have completely changed their life no matter what. So they would be a different person.
Right.
So it doesn't, like... assuming that the conspiracy is true, that could have just been... They could have just gone on with their life. Like, no one is fucking talking about it until enough weirdos get on the internet and start, like...
asking
like
questions.
Eddie Bravo's obsessed with space, so he starts looking at every fucking little... Oh, the Challenger thing, that was big. I'm going to start just researching that.
It's just a psyop. In your opinion, trauma-based mind control, like, what do you...
They did this, okay, the thing that's the weird is the last time this happened was 9/11. They find the fucking picture that got blown up in the space shuttle, floated in the ocean for 2 months, and it's in perfect, like, the odds are, like, also, like, just the same
that is pretty
people,
wild.
The same exact names. Like, you could figure out the odds of what are the odds that there are. There's one other person on Facebook with my name.
Yeah, the only person with my name is my dad.
Out of 5 billion. Yeah, so like that's 1 in 5 billion. Or like, what is that? What are the? I don't even know how to do that.
1 in 6 billion, right? But it's probably like more Facebook than that users, because you have to
Yeah, so like, just Facebook users, there's 2 in 5 billion. So like 1 in 200. I don't know.
So here's something. This kind of went viral. There are 2 minor league baseball players.
I've seen this.
Both named Brady Feigl that look like the same dude.
Yeah, I've seen this.
I'll put a picture up here. And they look the same. They both have the same name.
They both play minor league baseball.
They both play minor league baseball, which is even weirder. So, like, shit like that does happen. I'm not, yeah.
But that's...
Right, this would be like finding 7 Brady Feigls, yeah.
And they're all doing the exact same thing.
Because, like, me and my brother at certain times in our life have looked kind of similar. Like, if I died and they're like, well, actually, Jonathan is Dennis. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like somebody has to do a more in-depth. Like, they got to get birth certificates. But then I kind of feel bad for some of these people if they are just being harassed by weirdos.
See, that's the trauma-based mind control. You're empathizing with these people, so you can't think rationally.
Right.
Your emotions are guiding your...
I mean, it's definitely possible. The government has done... 7 people faking 7 deaths or killing 7 people is like
it's
a drop in the bucket for the government. So I'm not saying it's impossible. This might just be an ongoing thing I look into now. I just become the Challenger's fake person. But unless you got any final words, I think that's the show. I think we gave a balanced response.
Yeah.
Please don't cancel us.
Yeah.
Crisis actor.
Yeah, no.
I want to be a dude. And also, if you're the guy who casts crisis actors, consider me.
He's looking for work.
I would love some work. I'll be a crisis actor.
You could be like a janitor at a school shooting, or
I'll be whatever. Just throw me some money. I'll say I have no scruples. I have no scruples. Well, thank you for watching.
I guess.
You guess?
No, I said yes.
Oh, thank you for watching. Love you.
Love you.